guys, this is gonna be another part 2. What if Giorno was in Marvel? This is gonna be the Civil War edition. Let's not waste any time. Jump right into it. Now, I rewatched my video because it was actually tolerable. And my first video, part 1, or Age of Ultron, and I said everything goes in canon. Like close to the end, I started saying that a lot because I was like being rushed and stuff, but I didn't actually say what happened. So yeah, Pietro still died, and Thor and Hulk still left. So yeah, that's pretty much all I need to say. Anyway, we will start off with the first fight. Well, the first fight scenes in Civil War, with Giorno sitting at a cafe with Wanda and Natasha. Natasha would be talking to both of them, explaining on how to be a spy and how natural it needs to be to look over your shoulder. And then they get into a little comedy as Captain America says, stay focused and all that stuff. As he tells Sam to track a truck, which the truck then does everything in canon. The people still come out. Crossbones goes inside the building to get the serum, and so the new Avengers, in quotation marks, show up to stop them. Now, Giorno, being a superhuman, or at least his stand is, amping his physical stats, not as high as his stands, but still amping him. He can dodge a bunch of bullets, can punch a bunch of people, a bunch of, goons and stuff, and he actually came up with a new technique called the life punch, which is where he just adds extra life, which it just adds so much that they just exhaust themselves, and whenever they move, they just use so much energy that they pass out. And this is and Captain America basically trained with Giorno to make him do that, as it also runs through guns and stuff. So even if he punches a gun, it can go through there and then hit the target. And it also works through Cap's shield, so it can do that to Captain. But the thing is, Cap is, a superhuman, so he has a higher tolerance. But yeah, it works on these normal people. And even if he does get shot, he also learned how to heal himself. So this is a good way to take no damage himself, or if he does, heal it. And he can also knock out people without killing them. Because if he created a tree and then someone shot the tree and then they took the bullet, they're probably going to die depending on where the bullet goes. So this is a good way to just, prevent killing. And then all the goons basically get washed out even faster, as instead of Wanda just pushing Cap into the window, Giorno just creates a tree that lifts Cap up and pushes, and Cap jumps through the window himself, which it doesn't really affect anything. And then that leaves Wanda to just take out the goons even faster. And yeah, then there's more people chasing Crossbones. Now, Giorno would head with Natasha after the two people, the two goons with one of them having the serum and the other just being used as bait. As Giorno makes the chase a lot, makes the chase in a lot quicker, as he just creates plants to trip them, but make sure it doesn't trip them to where they fall, just trip them to slow them down, and creates trees in their way to block their path, so that way they're trapped. Natasha and Giorno, which Giorno finally shows off his new skills as he trained with Captain America, Natasha, Wanda. So they do have some combat experience and fighting experience, but not to the level of Natasha, of course. So she mainly does all the work against those two, as Giorno secures the serum and keeps it away from them, as Black Widow then knocks them both out. Everything with Cap and Wanda still happen the same, and the Sokovia Accords are now brought up. Now, this was set up in Age of Ultron, but basically he's going to be taking Cap's side because, he just thinks that the world is in him personally, he thinks that the world is in a much better place in their hands instead of in the government's hands. Because what if they want to help something that they can't? Then that's the main driving factor for him. If they want to help someone or something and they just can't do it because the government won't allow them to use their powers. And everything leading up to Black Panther and T'Challa, aka T'Challa's dad, dying and stuff would happen the same. Just Giorno would be there. He wouldn't really be supporting the Sokovia Accords. He would just be there just to be formal and just because he's a part of the U.S. Bucky is then found by Steve, and so then the chase scene happens, where Black Panther shows that he is faster than both Bucky and Captain America. Bucky is then still captured, and Zemo then arrives as his psychiatrist in quotation marks, as he then takes over Bucky, now the new Winter Soldier. And as Bucky becomes a Winter Soldier, this leads into Bucky fighting everybody, including Giorno, as Giorno tries to use his life punch through Bucky's metal arm, which Bucky does feel some type of effect, getting a little slower, and feeling Giorno's punches a lot hit, and they start to hit a lot more harder since he also amped his pain receptors. But it doesn't really do too much since he's a super soldier, and he still has higher tolerance than a normal human. And this was made to specifically knock out normal humans, not really super soldiers or anything like that. And so Giorno is still bested by Bucky. Although Bucky is slightly slower, but I mean, that doesn't really matter. This leads into Giorno then healing everybody there, as well as healing himself, still going after Bucky and following after Falcon and Steve, which leads into Steve doing the cool helicopter scene, and then Steve, Bucky, Giorno, and Falcon, Sam all getting away. This is where Bucky finally snaps out of it and tells Sam and Steve about the other super soldiers, I believe 30 or something like that, and then they start to round up their team as they want to go and, first of all, get maybe Iron Man and the others on their side, if they're not bounded by the government, to come help them fight off these super soldiers, because there's more than just him and Buck. And then Iron Man also assembles his team to basically take them into custody, possibly, or make them retire, or bring the Avengers back together, which is what Tony wants. So he wants them all to be together, and it doesn't matter how they stay together. Everything with Clint and Vision and Wanda all happen the same. Clint still being on Cap's team and all. Now, as Tony assembles his team, since the government controls this side of the Avengers, they also assign him a spy / assassinator. He could be called many things, and I will show him now. He goes by the name of Bucciarati, as Bucciarati is on Iron Man's side, as he works for the government and all. And so he's going to be added to the fight as then the airplane fight comes up. Now, most airport fights, if they're taking on 1v2, they're taking on 1v2. If they're taking on 1v1, they're taking on 1v1. Most airport fights are the same. The one that's different is, the addition of two new characters, which is Giorno and Bucciarati, as it starts out with Black Widow and Bucciarati versus Giorno, as they both try to double team him. But Giorno easily just takes out Black Widow and leaves her to Clint, a weakened Black Widow versus Clint with a bow and arrow, who is basically the same as Black Widow, just with a bow and arrow, which puts him... she has gadgets and stuff like tasers and guns, but she's weakened from Giorno, so yeah, Clint is winning that exchange. And so then it leads to just Bucciarati versus Giorno, as Bucciarati has higher power and defense, and Giorno, the only thing he has above Bucciarati's stand, which his stand is called Zipper Man. No, it's his Sticky Fingers, but I just love the other versions of the names. But yeah, Bucciarati's stand has more defense and power, but Giorno's stand has, which is Golden Experience, has more speed and hacks. Not really hacks. They both have abilities, which whenever Bucciarati punches Giorno's stand, a zipper is created, which is open to slow Giorno's movement, and it really helps to equal out their speed. And whenever Giorno does hit Bucciarati, because he can get a few hits off, they're just not going to do much since he has higher defense. His life punch is activating, which is putting more life gradually, which Bucciarati is kind of a superhuman due to having a stand. The stand buffs his base stats, even though his stats are not equal to the stand. So his stand taking all those life punches is slowly but surely affecting Bucciarati. And sooner or later, whenever Bucciarati goes for the finishing blow to knock him out, it just doesn't work as his body accelerates too fast, and he thinks that he punched him, but he didn't. And so Giorno then gets up, walks right past Bucciarati, and it's much like in the anime when with their first fight. Bucciarati then comes to a realization that Giorno is far above him, but he still tries to sneak attack Giorno from behind due to him being a spy and an assassinator and all that. He tries to sneak attack Giorno from behind, but Giorno creates a tree behind him, and that tree bounces that damage back at Bucciarati directly, and that is enough to take Bucciarati out of the fight. Now, Black Widow, the weakened Black Widow, then makes her way to the hangar, which Iron Man orders her to, so she could be the last line of defense against Captain freaking America and Bucky, against, so they don't get to the jet, but they easily pass her. She slows down Black Panther, but not nearly as much, and he's able to just take her out easily with her being weakened and all that stuff, but they still get away. And then when Black Panther tries to go after the jet, Giorno just creates a tree and blocks him, and blocks any attacks that he tries to send at Giorno, and sends it back at him, scratching up his suit, but not really damaging him inside the suit. And so Giorno basically stops anyone who can't fly. So Vision, War Machine, and Iron Man, and those three are the only ones that make it out. But Giorno basically stops everyone who can't fly, and he just takes them all out, proving that Giorno it cannot be underestimated. Anyway, the stuff with Brody still happens and all that stuff, but Giorno does get away because, well, no one was strong enough to ever stop him. No one that was on Iron Man's side, and the people that were strong enough basically were after Captain America and Bucky. Clint is still captured. Ant-Man is still captured. Sam is still captured. Zemo's plan is now revealed to all the Avengers. The Avengers are basically disbanded at this point, and the end of Civil War still happens the same since Giorno isn't there. He just gets away, and then Bucciarati is then tasked with a group by his superior, who works under the government. But he secretly has his own plans, but we're not going to talk about that. But basically, Bucciarati has his group, and now they're tasked to find Giorno and bring him into custody. And yeah, that's basically what I think would happen if Giorno was in Marvel and he was in Civil War.